Let's start looking at file upload in PHP. And before we start doing this, there's some configuration settings that we need for both PHP and also for MySQL. So I'm going to go to my XAMPP folder and launch XAMPP Control or OS X Manager if you're on the Mac. It's actually off screen. Hold on. Alt space move, and then here it is. So under config php.ini, which is also in XAMPP PHP php.ini, there are a couple of different ones. So I'm going to do a find for upload max, and then there's upload max file size. So here's the first one. So when you're uploading files, this caps the largest file that you can upload. And I'm going to want to upload some images, and so I'm going to make this bigger. So I'll comment out the old one, and I'll add upload max file size, and I'm going to set it to 32 megabytes, which is on the large side. There's also max file upload. So this has to do with when you're using a file upload form and you have multiple file selection, how many files can a person upload at one time? And 20 is actually pretty large, so I'm just going to leave that one the same. So this covers the file uploading part, but then the files actually get uploaded as part of a post submission using post method. And so there's some constants for that. I'm going to look for post max. Actually, let's try looking from the top. So here's post max size, and this is the maximum amount of data that can be sent to a web page using post method. And so if you're uploading 32 megabyte file, then and your post max size is only 8 megabytes, that's not going to work. If you're uploading 5 files and each one is 32, that's 160, give or take. And so this is definitely not going to work. But what we're going to do ultimately is we're going to upload each file individually using AJAX. And so the post max size doesn't need to be a multiple of the upload size. It just needs to be the same. So post max size 32M. Now also notice that this is just M, not MB. I don't know why it's not MB, but that's what it is. So post max size. And then it actually takes some time to upload a file. The data has to be transferred over the network. And so you want to look at the max input time and max execution time. Max input. Try from the top again. So max input time. And there's some default settings. Let's see if we got that. There it is. So 1 minute. That's the maximum amount of time a script may spend parsing request data. And I'm going to give it a little extra time here. I'll go ahead and send it to 5 minutes, which is really long, but should be okay. And then also the time a script is allowed to execute. So max execute. So max execution time is 30 seconds, and this is how long the web server can spend processing a request. And I'll set this to 300 seconds as well. Actually, I should have been commenting these out, so let me go ahead and do that. Max execution time 300, and then the other one I changed was input time. So let's go ahead and max input time equals 60. All right, and while I'm here, this is unrelated to file upload, but I also want to set the time zone. So the default time zone for XAMPP is actually Berlin. Actually, where is that? Date time zone. Let's see where it's set. Here it is. So Europe Berlin is actually the default. So I'm going to go ahead and set that to America Los _Angeles. So there isn't America/Portland as a predefined time zone, but we're in the same time zone as LA, so that's what I'm going to use for this. Now, all of these php.ini settings that I've been mentioning, you can actually set these on a page-by-page level by using the PHP function ini_set. And you give it the name of the option you want to change and the new value. These settings here in php.ini, they're going to affect the web server globally. So that may or may not be what you want to do in general. But I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. And then in my.ini, which is the MySQL configuration file, and I think that's in MySQL bin my.ini. And I'm going to edit this with Notepad++, which I should have done with the other one, but whatever. So we want max allowed packet size, and that's covering PHP sending data to MySQL. So in php.my.ini, we covered the browser sending data to PHP. We also have to do PHP to MySQL. So max allowed packet size, I'm going to go ahead and make this 32 megabytes as well. And then another setting that those of you who have taken 195p with me have probably already made is down towards the bottom here. You'll find Nodb buffer pool size. And you should set this based on how much memory, physical memory your computer has. So the default is really small, it's 16 megabytes. And I set mine up to 3 gigabytes, which is appropriate if you have, say, 8 gigabytes or more. If you only have 4 gigabytes, you might want to set this to 1 gigabyte. If you only have 2 gigabytes, you should probably get a better computer. I'm just kidding. Maybe 512M, something like that. And then this log file size should be about 1/4 of this. So if you ended up with 1 gigabyte here, 1 G, you'd probably do 256M here, something on that order. So go ahead and set those two things as well. And once again, I forgot that I really want to comment this out. And in this file, # is actually the comment character. But I forget what this was originally. So this was 1 megabyte for max allowed packet size. I'm going to comment that out and make it 32 megabytes. And that should be it for now. So I'm going to go ahead and save the file. And back to XAMPP control, and I'm going to stop MySQL. And I didn't run this as administrator, so it's asking me about user account control. And I'm also going to stop Apache. And actually, I'm going to quit and then restart this as administrator so that I don't have to keep doing that. So in XAMPP control, right-click and run as administrator. And then I'm going to start Apache and start MySQL. So now we should be set up to send reasonably large files from the browser to PHP and then from PHP to MySQL.